Now that we've walked through a high-level overview of the Once Accounting platform, discussed how to onboard a client, and some first steps you take in reviewing their chart of accounts, we can spend some more time looking at these alerts that we populate and what actions you can take on them. So as a reminder of where we've been so far, we have onboarded this QuickBooks Online file, the Once Accounting Demo Company, and we have cleared its chart of accounts mapping alert. That's the first alert that we populate when we automatically map in and put things in the right place for tax purposes. In a previous video, we discussed how you can review that and edit what we automate. So in this video today, we're going to spend some more time in the Command Center and discuss these various alerts. Looking at the Once Accounting Demo Company, you can see that we've populated quite a bit of alerts out of this QuickBooks Online demo file. Some of them are penalties, some of them need attention, federal tax payments. All of these are meant to be tasks or assignments that can be cleaned up and fixed relatively quickly. So for our purposes today, let's take a look at this penalty transaction. When I select this penalty transaction, you see in the window below, it's populated these two transactions that have the words penalties and fines. And there's some action that you may want to take as a CPA. What we see here is that these are both late payments for penalties on Amex. For tax purposes, this would actually be considered more of a bank fee that is deductible than a penalty that's assessed against the government that's not. So within our system, you have the ability to make changes to this right now. This is not a fixed asset addition, so we won't be working in this tab right now. But what we can do is we can make a tax journal entry, which is an adjustment that we make within the Once Accounting platform, a tax adjustment that only exists within our platform. It does not change the client's books. It does not go back to their entry. And this would be a great use if the client likes to keep things like Amex penalties in a category called penalties and fines. So we can come in here and select the transaction that we actually want to make a change to, and it will pre-populate it. And all we have to do now is add a line item. And we have categories saved in here for no deductions. And let's go ahead and take use of the full screen for this because we're going to be dealing with a drop down. So we create these categories for non-deductible or deductible categories. But here what we're looking for is bank services and charges. And we're creating a tax journal entry. And I can simply hit create and it will save here. Alternatively, if you would like, you can do the same and create a journal entry back into QuickBooks Online. Going into the same place, you could do bank service charges and expense, and this will create a journal entry and push it back into your client's books. Now, let's say that you don't want to create a tax journal entry or a journal entry at all, but rather you'd like to just change this in the client's books. Well, if you open the QuickBooks file and log in, you actually can very easily now double-click on a transaction, and what it will do is populate and open this specific transaction in QuickBooks Online so that you can make a change to it within QuickBooks itself. And so again, you can see all of the different actions that you can take to these alerts. Going through and seeing, let's find a gift transaction. We've selected a gift, and you can see here, we'll clear all this information out. I can come in, select this transaction, and again, create a journal entry. This is something that could be promotional. All we know is that they've used the term gift in a memo, but we can see that it's something that's over $25, which is the IRS's gift limit. So we create an alert for that. You can see that there's fixed asset additions, where you can come in and create a fixed asset schedule and update that. Update its depreciation method, all of those things. So there's a lot of different types of alerts that we have. There's a lot of different things that we're going to call attention to. Anything that's put into Ask My Accountant, we will create an alert for so that you will be able to see when that happens real time. The goal for this is that you would be able to log into this website periodically and clear out alerts because they're all populated real time. Now, in this scenario, we have recently onboarded this client. So there may be information that we've grabbed in our initial data gather that we don't really need to take action on anymore because it's in a previous tax year and it's not something you're interested in. A good example of this in the Once Accounting demo is this Ask My Accountant transaction that we see. And we can see that we have one from 2022, but also one from 2021. And rather than having to go through and clear out all of these individual alerts from a calendar year 2021, we have a way that you can go in and essentially reset the year in which these alerts are populated from. So when you're in the command center and you've initially onboarded a company, this is a great step to take. By going to the Companies tab and then selecting the Once Accounting demo company or your client file. And again, I'll toggle to take the full screen. Populating this information will help us get a more accurate picture of where this client stands with your firm and what information we need to be paying attention to. So what we'll start to do is just populate this information. We'll say hypothetically, our financials are drafted through December and their final through November of the last year. Anything with this star next to it, you'll be required to fill out once you begin filling out information on this page. So here now we can select its return type. We can set a cap policy limit. This is essentially going to provide us with a threshold to create an alert for this specific client if they call something a fixed asset under this limit. Typically people do 2,500. And now this is where we're going to talk about clearing old alerts. We will not gather data and we will not populate alerts for a year that's already been filed for. We've essentially set our system to know that that year's book of business is totally closed and the return is filed. And so if this client is filed through 2021, but not 2022, we can set and say the tax return is filed through 2021. And we have populated all the information. You can come in and select a tax platform if you like. And we'll hit confirm. We're going to apply to all companies in this group. Now, here's how we're going to be able to clear that alert and clear out the calendar date. Because we have set this date as 12/21, we can actually go now and hit this Regather Transactions button. And very quickly, you'll see in the top right, it will queue up to QuickBooks once again and begin gathering that data. You can see here in the top right, it's loading in the transactions. And now you can see in the top right, we have queued that onboarding is complete. And hitting this Gather Transactions button is a real-time grab of the data that exists in QuickBooks. I'll dismiss that alert. Close out of the window, toggle back down. And now I'm just going to want to refresh my browser as a whole to pull in any changes that have been made. And what I'm going to want to do now is go back to my alerts, and you can see, Ask My Accountant, only one transaction exists now, and that alert from 2021 is no longer there. You can also tell we've got 9 alerts now, and I believe previously it said something like 18. So we've filtered out a good bit of alerts already. And I could come back in these combined companies, and you see we have 26 alerts. And if you think that's a lot, it may be a good idea just to select a company within that group and see if the tax return is filed through, because that may eliminate some of the alerts. And so when we're looking at this Once Accounting demo company, we now only have alerts that are in the year that we're trying to do work on. And one last note on this gather information. Let's say that you did go out to QuickBooks like we had discussed, and you had made changes to your client file. We don't instantaneously go grab that information out of QuickBooks. And so using this Gather Transactions button that's located in the Companies tab of the Command Center, so Once Accounting Demo Company, I select the company in this group, select the Companies tab. Regathering the transactions will actually gather in any changes out of the QuickBooks file as well. So if you're working very proactively real time, you're able to gather in that information that is a change. We'll continue to walk through more functionality that exists in the Command Center, as well as the other centers like Benchmark, Tax, Firm, and other videos. But as always, if you have any questions about functionality, please feel free to reach out to your representative and schedule a meeting.